All right. Hey, everybody. My name's Matt. I'm just a regular guy. I'm kind of a blue collar layperson. And I discovered Bitcoin about 5 years ago, and I've been using it to explore and to save long term. I'm here to answer a few questions and see what everyone has to say.
So hi, for the people who are catching the replay, I'm Rebecca Bautista. I run Unmuted Money, which is a Skool community. And if you're watching this video, that means you're already in the Skool community. Also, to let you know, Matthew has his own Skool community about Bitcoin, Bitcoin savings, right?
A simple Bitcoin savings.
So check that out. And he just published a book, which in the group, he posted a link, and I believe it's free for like 2 days.
Yeah.
So check it out. All right, Matt. So basically, everyone wants to know, what is a Bitcoin?
But what is Bitcoin? So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It was the first cryptocurrency created, and since then there's been hundreds of thousands of others created. So there's lots of copycats out there. So Bitcoin, you can't actually hold a physical Bitcoin. It's just it exists on the internet, I guess to say, or in the cloud, as they say.
Mhm. And really quick, because I totally forgot, this is not investment advice. We don't know your personal situation, okay? Neither one of us are licensed as investment counselors, depending on where you are, what country. This is just people breaking down money topics about what we know, how far we know about it. Um, this is just, again, a lay people trying to make things simple and less intimidating instead of, finding someone who is all about, that particular realm. So people want to know, how do you buy a Bitcoin, or is it pieces? A lot of people are kind of confused on how to get to it.
Yes, for sure. That's something I struggle with too when I first started out. When I first started like 5 years ago, Bitcoin was like $10,000 or $12,000, and I was like, well, I can't afford that. I can't get involved. But when you buy a Bitcoin, you're actually buying fractions of a Bitcoin. So each Bitcoin is broken down into 100 million different pieces, and each piece of a Bitcoin is called a Satoshi.
Okay, so you're
So,
having people buy Satoshis,
yeah.
and people want to
So that
know.
makes it a lot more approachable
Mhm.
and a lot more. So there's no unit bias because people see the big price tag now these days of like over $100,000 for a Bitcoin, and they get blown away. So they get attracted to the other cryptocurrencies, which have a much lower cost. So if you break it down into the smaller units of per Satoshi, then for $1 you can get like seven or 800 Satoshis now. So that makes it a lot more approachable.
How does one purchase Satoshis?
Yeah, that's a good question. In the United States, where you are, there's all kinds of cryptocurrency exchanges. So there's big ones and small ones. What I really suggest, or what, in my opinion, you should focus on like a currency or a cryptocurrency exchange that only offers Bitcoin. Because most of
Okay.
them offer Bitcoin and all the other options. And it gets really confusing and overwhelming.
Okay.
So in the United States, there's a couple I can mention just off the top of my head. There's strike.me and river.com. And both of those companies are Bitcoin only.
Okay. And then for people who are like in Canada or UK, are there any international, I guess, exchanges?
Yeah, Strike or River are not available in Canada. In Canada, it's just using the exchange. It's called ShakePay. And then I believe Strike is available internationally. As you're looking for exchange, just one of the criteria you should have is that it's like a Bitcoin only.
Mhm. People wanna know, is Bitcoin safe?
Yes, it is. Of course, Bitcoin's like anything else, it's always susceptible to other scams or other scammers taking advantage of it. But Bitcoin itself is safe.
Someone says, "Why does Bitcoin's price go up and down so much? Can I lose all my money?"
I just wrote a joke about this yesterday, so bear with me. So
Mhm,
Bitcoin is like garage doors because they both go up and down, right?
mhm.
So, I mean, Bitcoin's price goes up and down because it's being traded around the world 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It has no downtime like the stock market or anything else like that. And it's also very liquid, so people are able to get sell it and get money for it right away. That's why it's so susceptible to up and down to its volatility.
Mhm. The next question, I guess, is can you spend Bitcoin like cash?
Yes, you can. So there's services online. You can buy gift cards with Bitcoin. There's retailers that accept Bitcoin for their goods. I mean, within the Bitcoin community, there's people that only accept Bitcoin for their goods and services. So the community and the economy in Bitcoin is always growing and expanding.
Someone asks, can governments ban Bitcoin altogether?
Individual governments have tried to ban Bitcoin within individual countries, but in order to ban Bitcoin everywhere across the world, all the governments of the world would have to agree and implement it at the same time. And if there was one dissenter, one government that dissented, then obviously it would fail because Bitcoin itself is decentralized and there's no central party to control or to throw into prison.
Fair. Um, the next question is, can you explain what mining is?
Mining. So Bitcoin mining is basically it's a bunch of computers that are guessing at a randomized math puzzle to find the target number. And what happens is the computers take in electricity and they do computations and they're trying to find the magic number. Oh, my dog just nudged me. They're trying to find a number below the target number so that they
Okay.
get rewarded.
Who created Bitcoin?
So the big answer is we don't know. The person who has taken credit for it or the entity is called Satoshi Nakamoto, but nobody actually knows who that was in the real world. So in 2008, that Satoshi Nakamoto person or entity or group released a white paper describing what Bitcoin was. And then early in 2009, they released the software and started running the Bitcoin. And then in 2011, the Satoshi Nakamoto just disappeared and stopped being part of the network at all.
Okay. So I know we talked about Satoshis being smaller pieces of an individual Bitcoin. People are asking how do you get Satoshis like into uh, a wallet per se? Like how do you actually store them?
Yeah. Well, there's a few ways to do it. The first way, the easiest way to do is when you buy Bitcoin on an exchange, then most exchanges will store that Bitcoin for you there. And that's a good first place to start, especially if you're just beginning. Then once you get a little more comfortable with that, you can download a Bitcoin wallet onto your phone. And that's going to be called a hot wallet. I like to suggest using the app called bluewallet.io. And that's good for storing. You can take self custody of the Bitcoin off the exchange. So transfer it from there to your wallet, and then that's where it'll be stored.
And then how does one defend against hackers? Like how do you prevent people from accessing your Bitcoin, your Satoshis off of your wallet?
It's just like anything else. It's just like protecting your passwords or protecting the banking app on your phone. So having good security practices, not having things written down in the cloud or taking pictures of stuff, is being basic security practices. And of course, it gets more complicated the more involved you get, but it's a good place to start.
So everyone's kind of familiar of a story of a guy who like threw out a USB that had like their code or something. Is that because he self-custodied? Like was that the whole gist of it?
Yeah, I think the story we're talking about is a guy in the UK who threw out his computer hard drive into the town dump.
Mhm.
And he's been spent the last like 10 years or something like that trying to recover that or get permission to go to the dump to try to recover his hard drive. And it keeps getting denied. But what happened there is that he didn't have a backup. He didn't have his private keys backed up anywhere, so he's not able to restore it. That's why it's lost.
Okay, so what's a private key?
So a private key is part of the cryptographic signature that allows you to move your Bitcoin around. So there's the public key, which everyone can see, and there's the private key, which you store on in your wallet, which signs the transactions.
Is the private key the same for all your Satoshis, or is it different for each one?
There's a different private key for every wallet that you have.
Okay,
So myself, multiple wallets, so every wallet will have a separate private key.
okay. So I know that you specified that you're into Bitcoin. Why are you into Bitcoin and not other cryptocurrencies?
So when I first started out, I was involved with other cryptocurrencies, uh, but after a while, you figure out that most of them are just scams and that they don't offer the same reliability that Bitcoin does. Like, for instance, one of the ones I was involved with, the creators of that currency were known and they got sued. And of course, that's not possible with Bitcoin because nobody knows the creator of Bitcoin.
Mhm. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin and it being a cryptocurrency, is it taxable?
Yes, it is. So, because in North America, where we are,
Mhm,
it's considered property. So, if you have capital gain on that property when you sell,
mhm.
then it's taxable under those rules.
Do you know if it's taxable in other countries too?
I believe most other countries have it taxed in the same way.
Okay, yeah, that's what I
Don't impose any capital gains tax on Bitcoin. I think El Salvador and Portugal are what comes to mind, but there might be others as well.
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of Latin American countries, Southern Americans that are even trying to see if they could make it like kind of like their own currency, like the ability to kind of back their own, which is kind of I feel like the antithesis of like this whole thing, which is no, you want it to not be centralized.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in El Salvador, they adopted Bitcoin as their second national currency, I guess, because they
Mhm,
don't have, because El Salvador uses US dollars
mhm.
as their national currency. So they adopted Bitcoin as the second one.
Yeah, zero knowledge. Can you explain, show us how to get started safely? What's a low entry point?
So we'll go from there. It's a quick 2 or 3 steps to get started. It's really straightforward. So this first step would be like we talked about earlier, just finding a cryptocurrency exchange, like a Bitcoin only one, like we discussed, and then getting that account set up. So you got to follow the KYC and AML rules, so that because they are regulated financial services companies or institutions, so they have rules they have to follow. So you get signed up for that. You get your identity verified, and then you'll transfer them. You can just get started with $5 or $10. It doesn't take much, and then you
Okay.
can buy just even $1.
And so you were saying that right now a dollar is what, like 7 to 8 satoshis?
So I think it's about 800 satoshis for
Oh,
one
okay.
dollar.
Wow, okay, that's more than and you said it's 100,000,000
Yes,
satoshis equals 1.
100 million satoshis to one Bitcoin.
Okay. Someone asks, "What is the added value in Bitcoin?"
The added value in Bitcoin in what sort of? I guess there's no.
I'm gonna assume 'cause your response was, like, why the dollar price would go up. If Bitcoin is decentralized, how does the value of it go up?
Okay. So the value of Bitcoin compared to the dollar is going up because there's an unlimited number of dollars in existence and nobody knows how many there are. Whereas with Bitcoin, there's a fixed number and it will not be increased. So right now, as we're talking, there's about 19.9 million Bitcoin in existence, and there'll only ever be 21 million.
Okay, so
So
because it's
but
capped and fixed, that's what makes it a hard asset, like, makes it worthwhile.
yeah, it gives it value. Helps to give it value for sure.
We have somebody who's an accountant who mentioned that Bitcoin is really still just in its infancy. Do you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. It's very early in the Bitcoin environment. I mean, it's only been around for about 16 years now, 16 and a half years. So compare that to other assets like gold or the dollar. It's really quite young. But because it trades 24/7,
Mhm.
it gives it more length than just that 16 years as compared to things that don't trade on the weekend or the nighttime.
So That same person says that they don't trade Bitcoin. They're really more about buying and holding. So what's your take on buying and holding?
I think that's the way to go. I think my plan, or I guess my plan at the time is just to buy and hold. So I buy Bitcoin every day and I don't sell.
Okay. And so you've been doing this for 5 years now, I'm assuming that it's been worth it because 'cause you're still going.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, well, compared to where I first started, with Bitcoin is trading around ten or $12,000, and now it's trading about 10 times higher than that.
Yeah,
So that's,
it's a good increase.
yeah, definitely worthwhile so far.
Okay, one person mentioned that they were almost scammed twice in regards to Bitcoin. So what are some tips and tricks for avoiding Bitcoin scams?
Well, good things to do is just not engage with something that you didn't initiate. If somebody messages you out of the blue, or you get a phone call out of the blue and they're talking about Bitcoin and you don't know who they are, you've never heard of them before, and you didn't initiate the phone call, you're not expecting it, then it's just a scam. Just hang up and block. Same thing with emails out of the blue. I mean, it's something you don't initiate, it's probably a scam.
Very good points. Are there any reputable sources that you think are good places for people to go to learn more or to get a better understanding?
Yeah, there's lots of resources online. I mean, again, there's too many to list off, but I think like Bitcoin.org is a good one,
Mhm.
or I think Bitcoin.rocks. But anything like Bitcoin only focused, if you get into it and you start getting like, if they start Bitcoin in the title, but then you get into it and it's all about other coins or other scam type things, and it's obvious that that's a scam. So you got
Have
to
you
use your own senses.
have you used or I'm sorry, have you had access to the white papers? Have you read the thesis behind all of this funness?
Yeah, yeah, I've read through the Bitcoin white paper. It's pretty technical and heavy, but it's worthwhile to do it once or twice.
Okay, is it super long? How do you get access to it? How can someone find the white paper?
You can search up Bitcoin white paper, or it's also available on Bitcoin.org, and it's only like 7 or 8 pages long.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's easy. I thought we were gonna be like a nice, PhD thesis. We got a couple hundred pages about all sorts of fun.
Ultimately,
Um,
at its heart, it's really a straightforward problem solving software.
yeah. And then tell me about so I understand that it's like the network, you have a bunch of computers that are doing the mining and doing the storage. So is the idea that the security of it is because it's replicated across so many different machines?
Yeah, and it can't be. And in order to change the records, you would have to change the records on all the machines.
Okay, so
And
that's kind of the safety features is because the way it's coded makes it hard to backdate or, fix
yeah,
an
it,
engine.
it also it makes it impossible to double spend or to go back and change the records.
So if you were telling a 5th grader all the most important things to include in his class project about Bitcoin, what would you include?
Bitcoin for a fifth grader.
This is what someone asked.
Uh, well, I mean, Bitcoin's going to be a new form of money, so you're not used to the dollar bills or the coins carry around. It's digital, so I mean, most 5-year-olds are going to be digitally native now, so they're going to
Mhm.
be the idea of money being digital.
So I think like the way that this question I know it's a weird question. I think it's like if you were pretend like you were a 5th grader and you had to do like a presentation about Bitcoin, like what were the important topics that you would hit?
I think the core topics to hit would be the proof of work required for the mining, the decentralization, and the consensus that everything needs to be in agreement and alignment.
Matt, do you recommend reading your book and then coming back to asking additional questions? Do you feel like your book is beginner friendly enough for the average person?
Yeah, definitely. I think the book is beginner friendly. I've sort of targeted it for people 16 or older. So I think it's a great place to start.
Do you have any plans for making another book?
Not at the moment, but you never know.
One person says, "What happens if I forget my password or lose access to my wallet?"
Yeah. So if you have your wallet on your phone, hopefully you've had it backed up. You can write that down, the backup phrase, either on paper or on metal, and store it in a couple different places, so that if your house burns down and you lose everything, at least you have the backups somewhere else. Like anything valuable, you'll have backed up in multiple places.
Yeah, we talked about that. Talked about storing the wallet. We talked about differences in cryptocurrencies. We talked about that you don't need a lot of money to invest in it. We talked about your book. Do you want to pitch your group?
So my group here on Skool is called Simple Bitcoin Savings, and it's a group of people who are just getting started in Bitcoin and want to know more. And really, what I really missed when I first started in Bitcoin was having community and having a group. So lately, in the last couple of years, I've been part of a number of groups, and I've found a lot of value in that. And I think being part of a group would have helped me avoid making some of the beginner mistakes. And so come on, join, and we'll help you get through the hard part, which is beginning.
And then that was a good segue or to ask a question is what are some beginner mistakes to avoid?
Like initial beginner mistakes are um, just getting involved in the dumpster fire of crypto. So just stick to Bitcoin only. Don't trust anyone that's like trying to offer you free Bitcoin or free crypto. It's just a scam. If anybody's asking you for your recovery phrase because they're trying to help you, they're just trying to scam you, steal your Bitcoin, those types of things.
Any other things that you want to talk about or mention?
Well, we talked about the book for sure. It's available on Amazon. So the simple Bitcoin savings.
Do you have the copy of it? Like the physical?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got my author proof right here. So it's not very big. It only take you about an hour and a half to read, and it's packed full of information. Hopefully, you've read a bit. You said so.
Yeah, I did, and I enjoyed one of my favorite points and things that I nodded or I jotted down to put in my review was that I love that the glossary was in the front.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought that was a good idea to put it there.
I mean, for the people who were skimming, that was good enough to get like a good basis. But it's definitely been an enjoyable. Even my husband was kind of thinking about like, oh, maybe, and I was like, yeah, if you want to read, he hates reading, but we'll see.
Oh, okay. Reading for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "Ugh." Alrighty. I mean, I don't have any other questions. It's gonna take me some time to cut this up because I definitely have some outtakes.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want the part where your dog boops you in or not?
Oh yeah, I don't mind.
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah. It makes it, more personable.